Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Wherever you are in this great world, we're going to talk about XRP. And once again, this is the one-day chart. We're sitting here at $2.14. Right now, XRP is just going sideways. And the same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is back under 104K. And it's because the Fed did not cut rates. Federal Reserve skips rate cut, keeps Fed funds rate at 4.50%. And most people expected that to happen. And I think the market expected it as well, because we didn't really see a major drop on the price of XRP or Bitcoin. The market is very uncertain still because of what's going on in the Middle East. We're waiting to see if the U.S. is going to get involved and how involved the U.S. is going to get. But until we get confirmation that that conflict is over, I think the market is going to remain very unstable. That's why I always tell you, real-world events play a very big factor on your crypto investment. This comes from Smoke. So researchers Smoke uncovers XRP potential role in Fedwire's over 1 quadrillion yearly settlement. The XRP community researcher Smoke recently drew attention to XRP's potential role in the U.S. financial system through Fedwire, the Federal Reserve's real-time gross settlement system. He points out Volante and Finastra, who also play important roles in this system. These are key tech providers for Fedwire and are established Ripple partners. In 2019, Ripple partnered with Finastra to embed its blockchain-based solutions into Finastra's payment ecosystem. This move enabled Finastra's clients to access RippleNet's 200-plus financial institutions. In parallel, Ripple users gained entry into Finastra's extensive banking network. Volante has secured integration with Ripple's technology since 2015. It offers Fedwire as a service via the cloud and has confirmed that its platform users can utilize XRP for transactions. Ripple has been aligned with the Fed for years. I even think all those times where Jerome Powell hinted at Ripple and the Grateful Dead, I think he knew how this was all going to eventually play out. Fedwire is set to go live next month, and I think that's going to give us our first look at, is this going to change the price of XRP quickly, or is it going to happen over time? Smoke also pointed out SEPA. Ripple modernizes global payments infrastructure, global access, real-time, on-demand, no delays. And you see SEPA mentioned right here. One simple API integration. Now, SEPA is set to go live in November of this year, and it will officially switch to ISO 222, an international standard for exchanging financial data. So we already know Ripple's technology is tied in with both SEPA and Fedwire. We also know that Ripple has rails in every other country as well. So as all these countries are switching over to ISO, they could utilize XRP in those transactions, in those messages. That's why I keep telling people, you know, you could sit back and complain about the price of XRP today, but this is a great buying opportunity still. Because once this goes live, and if this has a major impact on the price of XRP early on, a lot of people are going to get priced out very quick. Then I talked about the Ripple an SEC case being delayed once again. They're saying the next update is due August 15th, 2025. But Bill Morgan says this is not correct. The next update may need to be made well before August 15th. I do not think anyone expects it will take Judge Torres that long to rule on the joint motion by the SEC and Ripple, filed on June 12th, 2025. So again, this could happen when we least expect it. It could happen as early as next week or maybe even the following week. All of a sudden, the price of XRP starts to move. And then you get the news that the case is done and over with. You know, whenever they put a date on something, I never go by that date because everything seems to happen around XRP when no one is paying attention. Breaking: North America's first XRP ETF is now live on Toronto Stock Exchange via 3IQ. The 3IQ XRP ETF is now live. Zero management fee for 6 months. Early fund investment by Ripple. Cold storage secured. Plus 10,800% growth since 2015. 3IQ rings the closing bell today at the TSX to celebrate XRPQ's debut. I want to see how much money flows into this, how much institutional money flows into this very quick. That could give us a good indication on what's going to happen here in the United States as well. And the next one I think we're waiting on is still Franklin Templeton in the U.S. Expert calls this an opportunity to buy XRP at a discounted price. That's what I was just telling you. While XRP sits here and bounces around at like $2.13, $2.16, this is a great buying opportunity. These opportunities are going to be gone forever at some point. It could happen very quick when it happens. If you look at the 2017-2018 run on XRP, you see how fast that green candle showed up. Same thing is going to happen here. You buy what you can while you can. Don't worry about acquiring X amount of XRP. Acquire whatever you can. This way you have no regrets later. Once XRP starts, it will rapidly move towards $100. And it happens very quick with XRP. You know, everybody always said XRP moves last, but it moves the fastest. And I agree with that, except this time around, I think XRP is leading the way. And people are still calling for $100 XRP in this run. And it could easily happen because there's so much building around this cryptocurrency. A lot of things people are just overlooking. You know, Ripple has been working on infrastructure for a decade. XRP, during most of that time, traded sideways with very little movement, daily announcements happening with no price movement. When this thing goes off, I'm telling you, it's going to erupt like a volcano. Here's what 5,000 XRP costs today and what it could be worth in 2035. How many of you really care about 2035? You care about what's going to happen with your portfolio over the coming weeks or the coming months. Why look that far down the road? Because guess what? Nobody can predict what the price of XRP will be at in 2035. You know, AI is generating these prices. First of all, AI is not pricing in utility. They're not pricing in tokenization. They're not pricing in, you know, how quick institutional adoption happens, how fast mass adoption happens. You start to factor all of that in, and all of a sudden, you're looking at a 4 to 5 digit XRP by 2027. because everything that we've been waiting for to happen is happening in real time right now. What once took vision is now becoming fact, and it's right in your face every single day through all these announcements. People are looking way too far down the road. You know, I always said it, you could cut years off that 2030 timeline. And years are now starting to turn into months for it to happen. Everybody's going to be shocked when XRP goes off. That I can tell you. The U.S. SEC has initiated a public comment period for XRP and Solana ETFs by Franklin Templeton, with reviews until July 2025 on the CBOE BZX exchange. So it looks like now they want to know what the public has to say about these ETFs. You know, I was probably one of the biggest ETF critics out there. I always said, why don't they just buy the actual asset? We're starting to see that happen with some institutions, some businesses. They're acquiring XRP, setting up treasuries and reserves. But most institutions, they want everything to be perfect. In other words, they want safeguards put in place because most of these institutions, they have a board of directors. They have to sell this idea to a board of directors. The good thing is everybody wants to get into crypto now. Crypto is the next big cool thing to these financial institutions. It was cool to us when we bought our XRP. It was like, hey, I'm a crypto investor now. And it was like the wild, wild west. And it was like some dark thing you never talked about back then. Now these institutions feel the same way. The reason that we experience that is because we beat the institutions here. And we didn't care about safeguards. We didn't care about regulations. We just wanted to make a pile of money as quick as we possibly could. And that's what crypto does for people. The average everyday working 9-to-5 guy or girl can take a little bit of money week over week, put it into crypto, and all of a sudden you're a half a millionaire, or you become a millionaire, or you become a multi-millionaire. And it happens over such a short period of time. That's what's great about crypto. But I always said, you know, why go in through an ETF? Well, with institutions, they look at it a lot different than retail does. And I came around to these ETFs because I figured, you know what? A lot of money is going to flow into this space. And if a lot of money flows in and it makes us rich in the process, then so be it. Let's get rich together. That's the way I look at it. But when you look at the price of XRP going sideways, that is the most frustrating thing for most people. But XRP sitting above $2 to me is not boring at all. And like I said, if you look at this candle right here, this candle happened over such a short period of time. It happened between December of 2017 and January of 2018. But it was early January. That's the 7th of January 2018. Look at how fast XRP climbed up that massive green candle. Now we're expecting the same thing to happen starting above $2. So this is a great buying opportunity because once XRP goes, it goes. And once the train leaves the station, if you're not on board, you just got left behind. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.